In our first workshop of the day, we're joined by Parkin. Andrew is a partner at built environment consultancy Cundall and has a wealth of specialist knowledge in planning and designing workspaces. I'm going to talk to Andrew about the trends Cundall are seeing in office design. Andrew, good morning.
Morning.
So to kick us off, office design and refurbishment is a critical element of many FIS members' businesses. With so many forced to work from home, we're seeing a myriad of articles and reports published on the impact of this on productivity, on mental health and organisational culture, with some even predicting the death of the office as we know it. Cundall have a unique view on how the market is evolving. So from your perspective, how are fit-out requirements changing and what are clients looking for from the office of the future?
The COVID crisis has been unlike anything we've ever seen before, thankfully. But what it's done really is accelerated the inevitable. I think you can talk in terms of step change or gradual change, but what COVID has forced us to do is to stop completely and reboot the way that we work. Different people work better and thrive in different environments. That can be a factor of their personality type. It can be a factor of the type of work that they do, the type of company that they work for, the type of clients that they work with. It comes down to what is an office for? And an office is for a group of people with a common objective to work together. Generally that's in a collaborative manner. And it's a social space as well. And so some people and some businesses need to be in an office environment. They need to physically be there together. They need to physically roll their sleeves up and do stuff together. Some may only need a touchdown every now and again. And so we're just seeing that clients are adapting based on what the needs of their workers are, what the needs of their output is.
So we've got huge change related to COVID. In terms of the broader issues in the market like sustainability, and we've talked a lot about productivity, so productivity is key to the office of the future. We're moving away from presenteeism to productivity. How about the other trends? How do we create environments? Are people conscious of creating environments where people feel safe? How are clients talking to you about making environments more collaborative?
Okay, so there's been a lot of discussion over the last 5, maybe up to 10 years about health and well-being, and that's been a key driver. But when we've been talking about health and well-being, we've probably only really been talking about well-being rather than health. And what's taken this international emergency, this pandemic, to do is to show us that really health is just as important. Well, it predicates everything. Unless you have health, then well-being doesn't exist. And so we're seeing a shift in design for healthy environments. And so as engineers, we're looking at how we ventilate places, how we have access to daylight, how we use the right kind of light to control airborne viruses, how we have cleaning stations, how we can reduce the number of touch points that you need. And so we're looking at not only how we design to mitigate the risks, but how can we eliminate those risks? And that then moulds into the smart buildings piece. This whole pandemic situation is accelerating the inevitable of where we would have got to sooner or later, but it's almost forced us into that.
So it's about that individual experience of the workplace and really thinking through how we get the best out of people, how we keep people safe. How about in terms of sustainability, Andrew? Are you getting are clients more sustainability conscious now? Is that?
They are, yes. A lot of clients now are realising that they have to have a social conscience. We're now the first consultancy to be declared carbon neutral, and this is something that we have to challenge ourselves for. There is no other option, and we're seeing probably the biggest single driver and the biggest single thing that clients are interested in now is how can they go net zero carbon. So they will look twice at the materials that they're using. What is the journey of that material to the site? What's the embodied carbon of the material? What are its global warming potentials? Now it's something that they know they have to do and they want to do.
How's that changing, obviously the buildings you're designing, how's that changing people's views on how long-term the fit-outs are going to be, how flexible they require their fit-out and refurb work to be?
I think the key word there is flexibility. That's the biggest single step change in this sort of medium to long-term view, in that people are working more flexibly. Businesses are having to be more flexible, and therefore their workspaces have to facilitate that and have to allow for it. So although people will be paying more per square foot, inevitably they don't need so many square foot. So the net effect is
quality over quantity.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's rather than just having a blanket. This is how much space we've got. Let's fill it. It's a case of right. Well, let's turn that on its head, and again, moving away from the building designed, it's moving from the people and their needs, and then changing the way that we fit out, the way that we work, to suit the needs of the people and to get the most out of them.
So in terms of innovations that you're seeing around the marketplace that you're starting to integrate into the projects you're working on, where would you say the key integrations are? What's the disruptions we can expect in the market in terms of technology, product, and even process?
So we've talked about technology with the smart buildings piece. I think that's going to be really important. Buildings that can work in a truly smart way to know who their occupants are, what their expectations are, knowing the building systems and making sure that it all works together seamlessly. Not in a big brother way, but just in a clever way that's the lowest energy form of getting the most out of the building. Recycled materials are a given, I'd say. If we can demonstrate that we're using recycled materials, and not just recycled but recyclable as well, having something which can have a real circular economy benefit. We're encouraging people back from their homes into an office, and therefore what are the home comforts? And some of those home comforts may be access to nature, access to beauty, a lot of natural materials. And so I think that's been a trend that's been bubbling in the background for a while, but that's going to come to the fore as well.
One of the areas when people talk about innovation in construction, they immediately jump to off-site. Are you seeing any impacts in terms of off-site technologies in the fit-out sector?
We're certainly seeing a lot of off-site fabrication for new build, and with that comes a lot of pre-packaged stuff. So the whole building will arrive on the back of a lorry. Going back into the co-working environment, we're seeing a lot of clients want something which can be delivered to site and erected over a weekend, and so an office layout can be changed from a Friday night to a Monday morning for a new layout for a new tenant or a new change to a tenant's requirement. And so off-site materials there can be really, really beneficial.
And I guess part of the evolution of the construction sector is that we have to think about all these things together now and think of the building as a system rather than the building as a discrete set of products. And is that, are you seeing the clients grasping that now? Are you seeing the market evolving to grasp that?
Yeah, and again, it's an inevitability that's been accelerated. It's no longer a case of here's a nice shiny building, how can we shoehorn some people in? It's a case of here's a group of people, now what is the best environment to get the best out of that group of people?
So the office isn't dead,
no.
It's just going to be better. So how confident are you about the future? Are Cundall busy at the moment? And what type of companies, if we think back to the fit-out sector, what type of companies from our marketplace do you see are going to be successful as the market evolves?
I think that the companies that are going to be successful are the companies that adapt. And so the clients who've thrived throughout the situation have been those who have adapted to the needs of the marketplace or the needs of their workers. Be adaptable, change to the needs of the clients. Don't pretend that we can do the things that we've always done them, because we can't.
When we're looking at the whole fit-out market as it applies to FIS members, there'd be the big clients where they use consultancies in order to develop all of these and bring all of these things together. I guess for smaller companies, it's been able to take an essence of the thinking behind this to their clients in order to help them achieve on a smaller scale what's happening in the Google office, the Facebook office, and all those landmark offices that we see across the UK.
Yeah, I mean, people are people, whether they work for a huge multinational or they work for a small organisation. And so what it comes down to is understanding the needs of the people that you're designing a building for, whether that's 4 people in a startup or whether it's 4,000 people in a headquarters. It comes down to, does the building support their needs? Does it facilitate their needs? Does it enhance their needs? If it does, then it works. If it doesn't, then it's no good. And that doesn't change from small to large.
Andrew, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.